The Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record.
And good morning, Cayman. I'm Simon Boxall, sitting in here today for the record for O.C. Connor, who's away on vacation for a little while, and wishing everybody in the Cayman Islands a really good morning. I'm joined here in the studio today by Mr. Stuart Wilson.
Good morning, Simon. Morning,
Morning,
Simon.
Stuart's the Historic Programs Manager at the National Trust.
Correct, yes, indeed.
Also a musician. Many people will probably know him for his music. And also Mr. Nick Robson. Nick, you have several titles. How would you introduce yourself today, Nick?
I would have to start with human being.
Okay, there you go.
But good morning, Cayman.
Thank you
Good
for
to be
coming
here.
on. Later in the show, we're likely to have Mr. Wray Banker joining us as well from the museum. I'm sure you know Ray as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're going to focus mostly on culture, but we're going to take the conversation really wherever it goes. But before we get going, I just want to do some birthday shout-outs, which I've got here for people. And the birthday shout-outs are brought to you by the Pizza Boat, which is now open in Queen's Court on West Bay Road. And hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. Pick up or delivery. And they also, you can call them, they've got a really good number here, 949-0000, or order your pizza online at www.pizzaboat.ky. So looking at our birthday shout-outs, today, Miss Bridget Thompson, 56 years old, she says. I shouldn't probably have mentioned her age. Dang it. Sorry. Miss Bridget, happy birthday anyway from us here at Radio Cayman. And also tomorrow we've got Jarlath Sheridan celebrating a birthday, and Richard Greaves as well. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you. So Stuart, I'm just going to do the Pizza Boat thing again, because this is great. The Pizza Boat is now open in Queen's Court on West Bay Road. And so hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. Pick up or delivery, 949-0000, or order online at www.pizzaboat.ky. So, Stuart, I'm going to start with you. I was looking actually in the newspaper today, the Caymanian Compass, and you guys are making headlines a little bit. I see something about a bird.
The bullfinch.
The bullfinch. Is his mic on? I don't hear Stuart's mic.
Hello? Yeah, there we go. Yes, the bullfinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now an endemic species. It's been classified as such. As you know, and not a lot of people know this, but the Cayman Islands has more endemic species than even the Galapagos.
Wow.
And I think that's something that's often overlooked about the Cayman Islands. It's a very unique place.
What is it, mostly trees or something?
Well, you got the blue iguana, you got the Caymanite, you got the brown bat, you got the parrot. It's different in each island.
Okay.
It's
totally unique.
It's a vast amount of species that we have here that are only found here. The silver thatch palm, the ironwood.
Yeah.
So
That's incredibly dense.
We have yes, we have a unique distinction of flora and fauna here, and
That's interesting.
it's what it is because it's a little landmass that's formed in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, and it's not really close to any other landmass per se. And so a lot of the flora and fauna that have evolved here or developed here over time have a distinct set of genome.
Wow.
So the bullfinch is one of those.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was recently in Cayman Brac, and they have a red-legged thrush there. I think there was a thrush that went extinct back in the 30s or something, the Grand Cayman thrush.
Yeah. So I want to say to you that that's why I think we often talk about development, and we often talk about these things, but I think what get lost and sometimes in the discussion is that the very, very delicate ecosystem that exists here. It's not just the stuff that we can see as well. There's things that we can't even see, special types of ants and worms that only
probably
are
haven't
found
even
here.
discovered.
That's stuff we probably haven't even discovered.
Amazing.
So, and some of them are subspecies, but with this bullfinch, it's the actual full endemic classification. So this is huge.
I once went, getting back to the Cayman Brac, I know that red-legged thrush, this is a peculiar thing, okay. They don't have ching-ching in the Brac.
No
ching-ching.
Ching-ching is endemic too,
Is it
You
endemic?
can't find that blackbird anywhere else on the planet.
Got a lot of character, that.
Yeah, so
But the ching-ching is present in Little Cayman and Grand Cayman,
it's called.
but there's no ching-ching in Cayman Brac.
You know what the real name is for the ching-ching?
What's that?
A Western Antilles grackle,
Whoa, that's a good name.
right? And it's only found here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we should appreciate it a
It
little
seems to
more.
me that
You have to
Jamaica
come a
used to
lot
have-
closer to that mic, Sonic.
It seems to me that Jamaica used to have clinklings.
No, different type of bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely different type of bird.
They're smart, though. Have you ever seen them like open even a styrofoam box? We're getting away from styrofoam.
They're pretty
now.
savvy. I mean, they gotta make do with a small little environment that they live in, and they gotta, it's tricky to navigate for a bird like that. There's so many of them, and the place is kind of so they gotta be quite smart.
I was over in the Brac one time talking and of kind of endemic things, and I went looking kind of for caves with a guy called T.J. Savick. He was the nature guy, they called him, and he knows everything about all the caves and everything. Yeah. And I went in this one cave, and it was just a small opening, maybe the size of this table, and I dropped inside, and immediately I saw a fish about 8 inches long. And I know the biggest freshwater fish found to date in the Cayman Islands was only about 2 or 3 inches, maybe one of those mosquito fish, I think, or something. And there was also like this green crawfish looking thing. And as I got under the into the cave, there was like one path shooting off underneath the road, and the other one was heading out to sea. And I'm like, that's weird. That is that must be a new species. So I came back later in the evening, and I told TJ, because I came with a net. I was like, TJ, you just wait on top. And I went down stupid at 10 o'clock at night. Okay. And I went down this cave, and I caught the freshwater fish, and they said it was some kind of sleeper fish. But I tried to catch this crawfish, and I shot down this cave, and I had one arm out with my net trying to catch it, and I got stuck in this tube.
Wow.
And it was kind of constricted around me, and I was almost hyperventilating. I was quite scared. I think that was why my
sure.
It took me like about 5-10 minutes to wriggle out, and it's at night, and I had the guy up on the surface. It was probably. I mean, they always say you should have a dive buddy.
Did you get the fish?
I got the fish, and they said it was a fat sleeper. I'm not sure
So
it's
they
a
knew
fat
what it was?
sleeper. It's some type of fish that was recorded, but this thing looked totally different.
I'm always amused, when I watch the television and they say, we found this fish that we've never seen before, and then they have a name for it, like they knew that it existed before.
Apparently they've seen it
Can
somewhere
they not
else.
just say, we don't know what to call this thing?
I think it's different, though. I think it's different, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back. Maybe we could go over there, Stuart.
Yeah.
So, Nick, you and we've talked a lot over the years. You have lots of insights into lots of things. I think One of the things you were interested in discussing was the borders of the Cayman Islands. We think of the Cayman Islands quite often as our land area, and I think all three islands combined make up about 100 square miles. But at a certain point, we are going to define our borders, and I think we're actually entitled to something like 42,000 square miles. People don't really think of the Cayman Islands, but we focus all our effort primarily really on the western side of Grand Cayman, at least in terms of the economic activity, probably in like less than half of 1% of our total area, all our economic activity, or a large proportion of it. But we've got this giant area around us, which if we look back at our history, and you're the historian, a lot of that was to do with the sea. Sorry, I think Susan might be telling me I need to go to a break. Is that a break time, Susan? When we come back, we're going to come back with a break. And don't forget, you can call in too. So let's cut to a break, and then we're going to come back with more information from Nick.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series. Brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
James Manoah Barton Sr., 1930 to 1988, national hero.
The man affectionately known as Mr. Jim is Cayman's first national hero. He was a visionary, charismatic politician known for his common touch. Mr. Jim was a true son of the soil, a descendant of the first governor of the islands, and one of the builders of Pedro St. James Castle. He and his wife, Dorothy Nee Foreman, had 2 children, 7 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. Real estate, tourism, aviation, and tertiary education. The Cayman Islands owe a great deal to his energy and commitment. He was the founder of Pirates Week and instrumental in starting the $1 Million Month Fishing Tournament. He was a founding member of the Rotary and the Freemasons in the Cayman Islands. He played a significant role in the establishment of the International College of the Cayman Islands in the early 1970s and in the formation of the national airline, Cayman Airways. He was responsible for Queen Elizabeth's first visit to Cayman, and he helped pass laws intended to preserve the Caymanian way of life.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
All aboard the Pizza Boat! Cayman's newest pizzeria. Birthday parties, office luncheons, summer camps, game night. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat. And Cayman twist to pizza, bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat, experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay Mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The STEPS 2023 National Health Survey has been extended to September 3rd to maximise participation and give us the best data possible. If you've been chosen to participate, please say yes to Step 3. For more information, contact the STEPS team on 936 4969 or email mhwsteps@gov.ky.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Welcome back, Cayman. This is For the Record with O.C. Connor. I'm standing in. My name is Simon Boxall. I'm filling some pretty big shoes today for Mr. O.C. But I'm joined here in the studio for this, just joining us by Mr. Stuart Wilson from the National Trust and Mr. Nick Robson. And I do think we had a call a minute ago. I remember when I was in Little Cayman, I always remember hearing on the marine radio this Lloyd's of London Signal Station, Lloyd's of London Signal Station, Mr. Raymond Scott. He learned to speak several languages on the radio, and I think, we often underestimate Caymanians, but I think one of his relatives was one of the youngest master mariners ever. So if you can call back, we'd appreciate that. We were just, I was just going to go, I know, Stuart, you're not going to be here very long, so I'll get back to you, because I do want to discuss also the activity on Jackson Wall and some of the other things going on. But we were discussing the borders of the Cayman Islands, and Nick, you were going to talk a little bit, I guess, about the law of the sea and what what that means for the Cayman Islands and where we're at.
Thanks, Simon. What I was going to talk about was our exclusive economic zone, and this is a sizable portion of the Western Caribbean, which actually encompasses almost 46,000 square miles of territory.
So what is this area that we would have exclusive rights to have economic activity in? We can't restrict ships. From what I understand, I think you have a territorial sea that's 12 miles. Then past that, or at the continental shelf, the drop-off or whatever, there's an exclusive economic zone, which I think extends out 200 nautical miles. And then after that, there's high seas, which again, there's a different set of laws. But from what I understand, because of the placement of the different islands in the Caribbean Sea, all those exclusive economic zones bump into each other. So there's actually no high seas as such in the Caribbean Sea, from what I understand. But anyway, get back to our exclusive economic zone and carry on. Sorry to interrupt that.
Okay. Yes, you are correct. National limits are 12 miles. International exclusive economic zones extend out to 200 miles. However, in the Western Caribbean, given that we're surrounded by Honduras, Cuba, and Jamaica, we have to share that 200 miles with them.
Okay.
So as it stands now, there is a treaty that has been negotiated by the United Kingdom as our colonial power that rules this colony. They have negotiated a treaty with Honduras. However, there is no treaty yet negotiated with Cuba or Jamaica. And this needs to be done as soon as possible, in my estimation.
We're going to take a very quick, because sorry, thank you, Nick. We will get back to this right away, but let's bring in our caller, Mr. Raymond Scott. Mr. Raymond?
Good morning, Mr. Simon. Delighted to hear you on there. We go way back from Little Cayman when I was working with Power and Light in 1988.
I remember it well.
Yes, and you were down there working with Southern Cross. It's nice to hear you this morning, and good morning to the other two gentlemen that are there discussing things of our history, and what an important conversation. And I know a lot about the history of Cayman Brac and the unique things in the forestry, where many of the wells and cave wells and many of the unique spots on the island here and Little Cayman as well.
Yeah, I remember you. There was just a dirt path most in Little Cayman. I think you turned up some treasure one time as well, I seem to record. But yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier before the show how they're doing this environmental impact study in East End, and they're kind of on an eye out for historical things as they do it, and they got to report to the National Trust and look out for the buildings. But anyway, you carry on, Mr. Raymond. So good to hear your voice. And yeah, you were. There was only like 18 of us in Little Cayman back in those days, in the 80s. And yeah, the stories, I would listen to you and your wisdom. It was great. It's so good to hear your voice again.
Yes, nice to hear you as well. And speaking about the red-legged thrush, they're very familiar to me here in West End, in my area. They have an annual laying period where they make nests mostly in wood structures. They like that very much, like up in the corner of my garage. They go open their garage in the corners. They pick their trash up on the sticks and make a nice bedded nest up in the corner on the wood in the 90-degree angle, and fit it in there. And they mostly lay 3 eggs.
What color are the eggs? What color are the eggs? Do you know?
They're sort of bluish gray colored, similar to what we call a dickory-dick bird that lives along the coastline, that swoops down and makes this loud noise in the nighttime catching mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, screech.
Yeah, they're the ones that lay along the coastline. In fact, I came up on one a few days ago, and it has one speckled grayish, bluish colored egg.
Beautiful.
It's just about a quarter mile away from me on the beach. That's one of those. I'm not sure of the Latin name for it, but Caymanians call it the dickory-dick.
Okay, that's not the bird like the tropic bird that has a long tail or anything like that. I see that one when I was there about a month ago as well, like a seabird. No, different. Dickory-dick is different, probably.
Yeah, this is different, definitely so. And about 2 months ago, when the mosquitoes were very bad in Cayman Brac, they were around my yard area in the nighttime. And when they dive down from an altitude of maybe 100 feet, you can hear this thrust from their wings, like how it would be when a jet throw the engine in reverse to slow it down, a thrust from their wings when they dive down to catch mosquitoes. That is a very impressive bird. And the thrush has one of the most attractive tones when it's chirping, like up on my tower. They used to go and lay it in my radio box right next door to my radio box.
So now this bird, the red-legged thrush, that is not found, by the way, I don't think in Little Cayman or Grand Cayman. This is a bird that's unique to Cayman Brac, and as we were discussing earlier, the ching-ching is not present, I think. Is that correct? Or is a very rare bird passing occasionally maybe from Little Cayman into Cayman Brac. You don't see the ching-ching.
That's right. I never seen a thrush in Little Cayman, and I worked there roughly for 2 years with Power and Light.
And
No
it's only, what,
thrush
5 miles apart, right? Only 5 miles for it to fly, and it doesn't go.
That is right. Cayman Brac is the only place, and I never seen it in Grand Cayman as well, the thrush. So that is unique to Cayman Brac. And this West End area has probably about 5 of them, and like I said, every year they lay around my garage area. They like buildings up in a corner of old buildings and fairly new buildings, etc.
And you said it has a beautiful song in the morning when you wake up, or it's got a nice call?
And during the afternoon and the evening, it's there chirping away. And my dad used to say, "Hear the thrush preaching for loggerhead eggs," means the thrush. People would put loggerhead eggs on the line, and that's the old timers figured that when they hear the thrush like that, they were preaching for loggerhead eggs.
Interesting.
So that was a Caymanian thing, but it's the most attractive sound. It's unbelievable.
Mr. Raymond, I'm being Mr. Susan. Miss Susan is just letting me know we got to go to the news, so we'd love you to call back later on. And as I said, it's great to hear your voice. So I think we're going to go to the news now. But thank you again for reaching out, and we love hearing from people. So please call us back.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Caymanian swimmer and University of Tennessee star Jordan Crooks is on to the finals of the men's 50-meter freestyle at the 2023 World Aquatics Championships in Japan. This after finishing 5th in the semis this morning. The 21-year-old qualified for the semifinal race in the men's 50-meter after finishing his heat last night with a time of 21:90, which was a personal best for the athlete in a 50-meter pool in the 50-meter freestyle event. However, this morning in the semis, he touched the wall in a time of 21.73, bettering his preliminary heat performance. The finals are taking place tonight at 8:10 tonight. His sister and fellow top-tier Caymanian athlete Jillian is back in the pool this evening as well for the 50-meter freestyle at 8:30 p.m. local time. The opposition says it's concerned that stayover tourism in the Cayman Islands is down by 16% when compared to 2019. This week, the Ministry of Tourism announced that revenue collected from tourism accommodation taxes and fees in the first half of the year has already exceeded revenue projections for the full year. Leader of the opposition, the Honourable Wray Banker.
As good as that headline may sound, the real lesson from the half-year figures announced by the minister is that the Cayman Islands stayover tourism is down 16% compared with 2019. Honourable Kenneth Bryan stated that stayover arrivals between January and June 2023 stood at 235,370 visitors, equating to 84% of visitor arrivals during the corresponding period in 2019. That fall of 16% equates to around 45,000 fewer visitors to our shores than in 2019.
Mr. McTaggart says in 2019, the stayover visitor daily spend was about $1,814, and adding for 10% inflation since then, a likely daily spend would be about $2,000 per head.
This is $90 million lost to local tourism businesses and wages lost to Caymanians working in the tourism industry.
Minister the Honourable Kenneth Bryan said the ministry expects to surpass the revenues collected in 2019, with taxes and fees between January and June amounting to more than $28 million, which is $12.4 million ahead of mid-year projections and $3 million over the anticipated full-year target. The opposition claims the reason government revenues are up is actually a consequence of inflation and an increase in hotel costs. And new management is announced at the Ministry of Border Control. Details from CIGTV's Donna Bush.
Well, the Ministry of Border Control and Labour has bolstered its human resources talent by confirming a new Deputy Chief Officer and 2 senior policy officers. Danielle Roberts is the new Deputy Chief Officer. The new Senior Policy Officer, Rolna DeCosta, joined the ministry on the 1st of July of this year, while Mr. Hislop is the second new Senior Policy Officer. Now, Chief Officer Wesley Howell says he's pleased to work and lead such a strong team of talented Caymanians, whereby each of them brings great experience and knowledge. He further says they're truly an asset to the civil service and will be an added complement to the ministry's policy team.
Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
ABC News. The head of the Presidential Guard in Niger has declared himself the country's new leader. During a televised address, General Abdurrahman Tiani complained of worsening security problems in Niger, as well as poor governance. The new military authorities have banned all demonstrations. The head of the Wagner group of mercenaries in Russia appears to have welcomed the coup in Niger. An audio message, purportedly from Yevgeny Prigozhin, hails the military takeover as a fight against colonizers. The Israeli Air Force chief has warned that enemies may try to exploit divisions within Israel caused by the government's plans to overhaul the judiciary. He said there might be attempts to test Israel's frontiers and alertness. A senior advisor to Ukraine's defense minister says a counterattack against occupying Russian forces is making steady progress. Yuri Sak said Ukrainian troops were searching for vulnerabilities in Russian defenses. Japan is extending a ban on car exports to Russia as part of a new package of sanctions sparked by the invasion of Ukraine. Sales of second-hand vehicles to Russia from Japan have soared since the conflict began. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcade, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the very latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 81%. The barometric pressure is 29.97 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 80 degrees. Synopsis indicates satellite images show a tropical wave over eastern Nicaragua and Honduras, with most of the cloudiness south of the Cayman Islands. The increased moisture associated with this tropical wave may lend support for localized afternoon showers and possible thunder across the Cayman area today. Radar images show isolated showers mainly south of the Cayman area moving towards the west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy at times with a 40% chance of afternoon showers and possible thunder. Showers will be locally heavy at times. Temperatures today will be in the low 90s with a heat index of 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to southeast, 5 to 10 knots with higher gusts in and around heavy showers, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, we can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and temperatures dipping to the upper 70s tonight. Winds will be easterly, 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 7 minutes past 12, and a high tide again tonight at 7:24. The sun will set this evening at a minute after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 2 minutes past 6. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions with a decrease in cloudiness and showers expected from Sunday morning. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Hi, my AC just went out and I need someone to come fix it.
I'm sorry, we're closed.
Okay, what about tomorrow?
We're only open on Thursday. And we're fully booked.
Have anything next week?
No.
Okay, when can you send someone out?
The 22nd is open.
I'll take it.
Of December 2023.
With the best medical cover for your dollar, we're like an AC technician who isn't too busy for you. CG Britke. Good like that.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britke, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. There's no great success without commitment.
As motivational speaker Tony Robbins said, individuals who succeed have a belief in the power of commitment. If there's a single belief that seems almost inseparable from success, it's that there's no great success without commitment. If you look at successful people in any field, you'll find they're not necessarily the best and the brightest, the fastest and the strongest. You'll find they're the ones with the most commitment.
Change your thinking. Change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning. Let's take a look at traffic coming off of the Esther to Tibbetts Highway. Traffic is flowing moderately and continuing on to North Sound Road. As we look to the east on Shamrock Road and coming off of Rex Crichton Boulevard, no issues there as traffic is flowing moderately, as well as on the Linford Pearson Highway. Huldah Avenue traffic is steady bit flowing, as well as coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. Cool Road heading to Georgetown, traffic is steady bit flowing. Eastbound traffic on Cool Road, light to moderate. Godfrey Dixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing at a good pace, and traffic flowing pretty good on Edward Street. No issues there. And traffic out of Georgetown on Shedmore looking good as well. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. No issues on Owen Roberts Drive as traffic is light to moderate. And that's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning and drive safe.
From boat days to beach gatherings, Leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Sunday, July 30th between 7 a.m. and 12 noon for Centennial Towers, Heritage Square, and all of Boggy Sand Road in West Bay. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
No, man. I'm tired of seeing a new charge on my phone bill every month.
You are always complaining about that bill. I think it's time you make that switch to Digicel.
I've been with my network for more than a decade. I don't know if I want to move over now.
Well, better later than never. When you switch to Digicel, you get better speeds, more data, and simply more value. Best of all, no dishonest practices. What they say is what you get. Make that switch today and get 50% off your first 2 months.
50% off my first 2 months? Mary, you're convincing me now. Okay, I will visit a Digicel store near me.
Experience the bigger, better network. Switch your postpaid number to Digicel for 50% off your first 2 months or get a free 30-day Prime bundle for prepaid customers. Make the switch today.
Are you ready for a midsummer miracle? Get ready for the Christmas in July sale at Tortuga and discount retail stores. All July, Tortuga is bringing exclusive Red Dot deals in store. Discover incredible savings on selected items that will make your summer merrier. But hurry, the Red Dot deal is available while stock lasts during regular store trading hours. Don't miss the once in a summertime offer to save on your favorite beverages and more with Christmas in July. Visit a Tortuga and discount retail stores near you.
RC Fusion.
Monday to Thursday.
10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Fridays. Radio Cayman.
Biggest variety in the morning. Biggest variety.
RC Fusion.
Following the 10 a.m. news headline. Biggest variety in the morning.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Simon Boxall, your host, sitting in for Mr. O.C. Connor. And I'm joined here in the studio, I'm very pleased to say, by Mr. Wray Banker from the Cayman Islands National Museum.
Morning.
I don't think your mic is up yet, but give it another try, Ray.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks very much for coming along. We'll get to you in a minute, but we were just in the middle of a discussion, recapping. We're also joined by Mr. Stuart Wilson and Mr. Nick Robson, but we were discussing basically the borders of the Cayman Islands and where we're at. And just to back up a little bit, we were talking about how the Cayman Islands has a territorial sea around all three islands, 12 miles. After that, there's an exclusive economic zone, or the assumption of one, because it hasn't been settled in some cases. So we were discussing the borders. Nick, can you try to pick up where we were before the news?
Certainly. Thanks, Simon. The Cayman Islands has designated by the United Nations, actually, 46,000 square miles of the Western Caribbean. That is its exclusive economic zone. In other words, we control it. We will eventually have to patrol it with our Coast Guard to stop illegal activities out there, whether it is longline fishing. Eventually, it could become seafloor mining, which, as I started to say earlier, is terribly environmentally destructive. But before we can do anything, we have to have the treaties between the United Kingdom on behalf of the Cayman Islands and Cuba, and between the United Kingdom on the Cayman Islands' behalf and Jamaica. Those have to be negotiated by England on our behalf, and then that delineates our special economic zone, and it can never be taken away from us, or so it is ours to manage.
And it's been settled already with Honduras. That's the case, right? So
we have one with Honduras. Yes,
southern area is already defined.
Right. I actually have the treaty here, but we need to get the United Kingdom to move ahead on negotiating the treaties that are still outstanding.
Right. So, from what I gather, there have been some efforts in the past to negotiate with Jamaica, but there's an area called the Southwest Rock, and I think under the law of the sea, it's actually to be included in the baseline for the assessment or the demarcation, the delimitation, as you said. These areas have to be capable of supporting human life, and in this rock, apparently, Southwest Rock, I've seen some images of it, it's quite frequently awash. So the negotiations have broken down, I think, in the past. But and there have been some discussions with Cuba, and again, I think there was, from what I gather, there was the Pickle Bank was sort of under negotiation. There was a kind of a keenness on the behalf of the Cayman Islands government or the UK to make sure that the Cayman Islands, that traditional fishing area, the Pickle Bank, was included. From what I gather. So, but in terms, you've spoken to Commander Robert Scotland. I believe that there is a search and rescue area that's been defined already, which extends out. It's a peculiar situation, I guess, between Grand Cayman and the sister islands. There's this patch of water where can you, at the moment, before it's defined, I guess anything goes? I mean, can people go out there and long line and use great big fishing nets to kind of trawl up everything there? What's the situation at the moment?
I would have to say I really don't know. I think perhaps, as I suggested previously, you should get Commander Scotland on here and get him to answer the questions. Yeah, I don't have the answer to that one.
It's an unusual thing. I mean, from what I gather as well, even the sky above our head becomes Jamaica once the tower closes because they control our airspace.
They do that now. I mean, there again, you need somebody from CIAA to really explain that for the listeners. But
I guess this is an important thing you're talking about because, our past, our history, we've got a couple of historians in the room, a lot of it looking back in time, turtles, sponge fishery, the shark leather industry. A lot of our past has been about the sea for Cayman, so it's only been the last...
Which is all the more reason why we've got to get these treaties in place as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I was surprised it wasn't established before, a lot longer before.
I mean, it does seem like this is kind of an important thing to at least know what your borders are. But as Nick was pointing out, we have managed to secure the treaty to the south and west with Honduras, which is important because I think that captures that interesting area where in the plate tectonics, earthquakes, where the plates are pulling apart, that short spreading center where there were a number of submarine missions about 10 years ago. The Shinkai 6500, the Autosub and the Alvins went down there to study these hydrothermal vents. We'll get back to Nick in a second, But Ray, what's been going on with the museum? Any big areas of focus?
Well, not as controversial. Just to say sort of what we've been doing last couple of months and weeks. Just a recap, we had Art Week. We've had our mango season, which is an annual event that we have. We close down the street and we have vendors and things like that, all to do with surrounding mangoes. Like I said, not as heavy as the last discussion, but let's see what else we had. We've got going on now is a popular thing, which is our summer camp. It's closed right now, but those of you that missed it, make sure to get early next year. We've got 2 weeks of it, and we have a lot of cultural and historic things for your kids to enjoy. And what we have coming up is we're changing out the exhibits. So we have the coat of arms exhibits that's been in there a lot longer than it was supposed to be because of COVID. So these are the last couple of weeks here now. So if you haven't seen it, sure to come in. We're going to transpose it to somewhere else, but we're going to do the Leela Ross, our national songs author. So we actually going to have more about her life that a lot of people don't realize. Everybody knows about the song, hopefully, or they should know about the song, but don't know about her life. She's had some ups and downs and things and that, but it's basically about her life that a lot of people don't get to see or don't get to hear about. And we have certain things like we might have a historic mile, things like that. So we're kind of branching out into a lot of different things.
What's a historic mile?
We're hoping to run a mile within the...
Oh, Georgetown.
Yeah.
I remember Susan Merrin used to do a historic tour, I think, at Georgetown. I want to keep on the topic of history for a little bit. Stuart, can you talk a little bit about, there was work done on the Jackson Wall, the ruins down?
Yes. So Jackson's Wall is, as many people know, one of the National Trust historic sites. Right. It's one of the more obscure ones, and not a lot of people have actually seen it. They've heard of it. Where it's located down there in Newlands, not a lot of people drive that way. So it's not on one of the normal thoroughfares where a lot of our other properties are situated. This particular property, when I started with the National Trust, I'd always go there on our Paradise tour, and we have a bus, 16-seater bus, where we take people on tours, a lot of the law firms, and send their new staff for orientation, with Cayman Islands culture on this particular tour. And I'd like to extend a welcome to anybody who's got new staff, even the education, the Ministry of Education, new teachers, and you want them to get more sort of acclimated to the Cayman Islands culture. I recommend this tour for those kinds of persons, even residents who want to get closer to their culture as well. Anyway, Jackson's Wall, I would go there all the time, and I would see the site, and to me, that big slab of stone there, that limestone, it was kind of speaking to me in terms of, I said it looked to me at first as like a slave trading block, but I know that not to be the case. I know that it was actually a house there. And so I went on a trip to Virginia as a part of a cultural exchange for the International National Trust Organization, and I met with some archaeologists there. And they had been doing a lot of work with regards to slavery in the area, and I went to a plantation called Belgrove, and the archaeologist who was there was finding, all these, bones, and the place was also a key battleground for the Civil War, for the Battle for Cedar Creek, and they were doing a lot of Civil War archaeology. And I'd said to this guy, look, we've got a lot of properties in Cayman where we have not done enough exploration, and I think there are things that we can sort of learn and glean from what you're doing here. So that meeting led to me then sort of linking with those archaeologists to link up with an archaeologist at the Temple University of Temple in Pennsylvania, and we got a grant from the Ministry of Culture here, thankfully, for her to come over and begin this dig. And what we end up finding out was that
finding thing.
Oh yeah, we found bullets, bones, clay artifacts, all sorts of things.
Balls
all sorts of things. So everything, things from the 1600s come straight up to modern.
Wow,
and so a lot of the stuff.
This is Jackson Hole. This is
Jackson's Wall, in
wow,
Newlands.
I didn't realize that.
And so what we also learned was that the gentleman that owned it was also paid out for 6 slaves that he owned in the emancipation claims of 30 something or the other, 1834 or something. So he was paid out for 6. So so my hunch was correct in that regard as well, that this was actually a plantation.
It's an area we don't not really sort of look at that much, and
so it was a trading hub, very much just like Pedro was, I should say. And so those 2 sites we feel worked in sort of together and in a mass trade in that era.
I would suggest it extends into Duck Pond area as well, because I don't know if you remember a gentleman called Buddy. He used to go in a small little boat. He never used to wear a shirt. She passed away, I think, about a year ago. Amazing guy. But I would ask the old Caymanians, what's the name of this reef, that reef? And he told me there was an area called Merrin's Anchors near Duck Pond. And there might have been a trail, I think, because it's fairly close to Duck Pond, that area, Jackson Wall. So maybe it was linked to that.
The 1773 map has a trail there, doesn't it?
I think you're right. That's exactly the gold map.
So what we understand from some of the research we've done is that it was a sheep farm in that area. And if you read the Hearst, I don't know.
Some history.
There's some sheep. The colonial reports have some sheep having sheep.
And this part of Cayman,
sheep.
Yes, absolutely. And so this part of Cayman was part of the original land grants. And the gentleman who did the surveying at the time, his name was Mr. Newland. So that's where the name Newlands comes from. Right, and so
I thought it was new lands.
Well,
kind of newish lands.
That's what it all thought too. Until I found the same thing when we were doing the research, and that was 1773 map. Also.
Have to cut to another break. It's so interesting. A lot of breaks here, but this people are probably loving this. Miss Susan.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Are you ready for a midsummer miracle? Get ready for the Christmas in July sale at Tortuga and discount retail stores. All July, Tortuga is bringing exclusive Red Dot deals in store. Discover incredible savings on selected items that will make your summer merrier. But hurry, the Red Dot deal is available while stock lasts during regular store trading hours. Don't miss the once in a summertime offer to save on your favorite beverages and more with Christmas in July. Visit a Tortuga and discount retail stores near you.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
No, man. I'm tired of seeing a new charge on my phone bill every month.
You are always complaining about that bill. I think it's time you make that switch to Digicel.
I've been with my network for more than a decade. I don't know if I want to move over now.
Well, better later than never. When you switch to Digicel, you get better speeds, more data, and simply more value. Best of all, no dishonest practices. What they say is what you get. Make that switch today and get 50% off your first 2 months.
50% off my first 2 months? Mary, you're convincing me now. Okay, I'll visit a Digicel store near me.
Experience the bigger, better network. Switch your postpaid number to Digicel for 50% off your first 2 months or get a free 30-day Prime bundle for prepaid customers. Make the switch today.
The Cayman Islands Passport Office is now operating extended opening hours 3 days a week until the 7th of September. The new hours will provide the public with increased access while ensuring the efficient processing of applications. The Passport Office is open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays and will maintain normal office hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Mondays and Fridays. For more information, please visit www.gov.ky/passport-office.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Welcome back, K-Man. Thanks. We've got Mr. Stuart Wilson here, Historic Programs Manager for National Trust, Mr. Wray Banker from the Cayman Islands National Museum, and earlier we were talking to Mr. Nick Robson. Nick, we were talking about the borders of the Cayman Islands, settling the borders between Cayman and Cuba, Cayman and Jamaica. It's kind of a cultural show. I mean, talk about the cultural importance of the sea, I guess, around Cayman. Why do you feel like has this got relevance in a cultural perspective, do you think, settling of the borders as well?
Well, I mean, it would be very easy to say, and it would be very true, that the Cayman Islands have always been a maritime nation. Look at our shipbuilding skills. They were outstanding.
That's true.
Look at the turtle industry.
Yeah.
That depended on ships. Look at what our seamen did with national bulk carriers, etc., for many years. We are a maritime nation. But I would argue that people have not forgotten it, but not given it the importance that it should have. Therefore, the exclusive economic zone is something that has to be done, and I would like to see it done in the short term before anything untoward that would detract from what is ours may happen.
Cayman is in a fairly strong position, I guess, at this point. Economically quite strong. So maybe it's a good position to negotiate from, as you said. I mean, interesting point that Nick was raising there in terms of the sort of maritime orientation. But earlier we were talking about sheep farming at Jackson's Point, and I mean there was a period cotton. I think. I mean,
yeah.
I mean you touched on slavery. I think in the Corbett report in 1802, less than 1,000 people in the Cayman Islands, but at abolition there was slightly less slaves than there were free people. I think it was about 900. Well, you could probably tell me, but I think there was 980 slaves and I think a little over 1,000. We celebrate Discovery Day, Christopher Columbus, in May, which I think is the same month that the slaves in the Cayman Islands were made free.
Yeah, well, I think what we should be doing as well, and I think that Emancipation Day should be celebrated in Cayman again. It used to be.
A lot of people know that it's.
We did at one time.
It used to be,
and then it was removed, like in the 60s, 70s.
Even a Freedom Day. I mean, everybody can get behind freedom. Maybe it's got a little bit of a. I mean, there's some suggestion. Maybe do you think there's a little bit of denial that this?
Well, I think there's some of that. Maybe. But
I think it actually had to do with tourism.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to. I prefer to kind of just not, sort of have that thought that we were trying to avoid it. I think maybe it's just been overlooked somehow.
Okay.
But this is all this has all got so vague. I'm not really sure what the point in discussion is. I was sitting here thinking we should do away with Columbus Day. I think everybody would agree with that.
I guess because even though there was some suggestion he discovered the Cayman Islands, but obviously the link to the slaughter of the native peoples and everything, that people are knocking down this the statues. But
we did some research. Just to get back on that, I did some research on that. Well, I did a whole radio show on the Columbus, which is, I mean, literally we have like one line in his log, and it wasn't even from him.
Ferdinand.
And then if you get into the details, I mean, people don't realize it's not the Nina and the Pinta that discovered us.
Those are the vessels.
Yeah, I can't remember the vessels.
Santa Maria.
Yeah, no, not those. I'm just saying the ones that
okay.
he actually. But he was literally. He was basically, when he went across Cayman, or Brack and Little Cayman was really the islands that he saw. He might have not even seen him because he was sick in the bottom of the boat, and they were bailing. They were literally bailing the boat out. Yeah, could have gave him, like, he was persona non grata at that point.
Wow.
And they gave him these terrible boats that were rotten, and so they were literally bailing the boat out for days, 24 hours. Yeah.
Wow. We've actually got a caller on the line, so let's see who we got. Caller? Good morning.
Good morning to you all there, and Simon and Ray and the other gentleman here, Mr. Wilson, is it?
Good morning.
Sir. This is Stuart Wilson. That's
morning, sir.
Morning.
You,
yes.
Mr. Hulston.
Yeah, we talk about Pedro. That word really refers to a strip of land that runs along from Savannah somewhere to about northward. It's always been called Pedro. We're talking about old St. James House, which we call Pedro Castle. I guess that's a portion of Pedro Point. The Jacksons were very closely associated with the Eden family, my mother's family. And they came from Cumberland, England, the first Jackson. That's the no family record. John Shearer, and he came through North Carolina. So did the first Cove, James Goodchild Cove. John Jackson came here in about 1760. And it's obvious that he had some connection with William Eden, who built the old Great House in 1780. And Eden had come here in about 1755. My family records show 1750, but let's call it 1755 to satisfy the government what they presented as. I've done that over many years. The Jackson that built that wall you're talking about would be his son, the son of the first person, first Jackson. His name was also John Shearer Jackson. And he had another son, James Shearer Jackson, who spent about 6 months and 3 days in the jail there at St. James House. And that was in 1826. And also, that wall, he built it, and he built a house that was there and so forth. And there are many things that were found by people in the old days and put aside, with guns, pieces of guns, swords, and stuff like that. My mother often talked about that many times, but those things are forgotten because nobody was listening to them. They still don't. The abolition of slavery date there was actually July the 31st, 1834, the stroke of midnight. It had to be a precise time, and that's why all these countries around us, the other colonies, celebrate the 1st of August, because 1 second after midnight, July the 31st, of course, is August the 1st. And what ended in Cayman on that May the 3rd, then the 5th, then the 6th reading of that document by Captain Pack.
On the Dragon, yeah.
Yes, he came here.
So that was the reading, the announcement. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, he read the document out first at where is now the museum. You're talking near the rear, but it was read out there first by Captain Pack, and then in Bordentown on the 5th, and then at old St. James House or Pedro Castle on the 6th of May, and that ended the apprenticeship system.
We didn't read and register the slaves, so they weren't apprenticed or something, is that correct?
They were made apprentice laborers. All of them were to do that in all the countries, but it wasn't working here in Cayman at all for the 985 slaves. That was a policy implemented by the instructions from the British government. It ended here when Lord Sligo, the British governor of Jamaica, wrote that document and brought it here himself. He spent a day here. He was accompanied by Captain Pack.
Right.
And that document ended it. He was ordered to write that document. He says so in the document. The British governor of Jamaica, Lord Sligo, was his title. His real name was Peter Brown Ho. He was from Sligo in Ireland. And he brought the document here. He was ordered to do so. He was sent an edict by the British government, I imagine, or check, if you want to call it that. And he brought the document here. And in the document, he does say that he thought it was an injustice and an inconvenience for the slave owners to be deprived of the services of their Negroes. But I am commanded to write this document. So he was ordered to do so. It went on in Jamaica and the other islands for the full 4 and 6 years, the apprenticeship system there for thousands and thousands.
But not in Cameron. Mr. Hulson, this is such an interesting conversation. We do have another caller on the line as well, and I wish you called. We're going to go to a break as well, and to apologize. Thank you.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What exactly are the steps in the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey? Step 1 is a questionnaire where you'll be asked about your health behaviors and lifestyle choices. Step 2 involves home measurements like height, weight, and blood pressure. Lastly, Step 3 is a finger prick blood sample for cholesterol and glucose. STEPS 2023 starts on June 3rd. Learn more by logging on to www.gov.ky/steps.
It's a 24-karat summer with Digicel. In honor of our first truly COVID-free summer, Digicel is giving away $24,000. Be one of 10 to win $2,400 this July. For a chance to win, all you have to do is switch to Digicel, activate a Prime bundle, or simply pay your bill on time. It's that easy. It takes 2 minutes to get $2,400 richer. Make the choice to win today and visit a Digicel store near you.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
The Cayman Islands Passport Office is now operating extended opening hours 3 days a week until the 7th of September. The new hours will provide the public with increased access while ensuring the efficient processing of applications. The Passport Office is open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and will maintain normal office hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Mondays and Fridays. For more information, please visit www.gov.ky/passport-office.
Radio Cayman News.
Another interest rate hike.
Ofreg sets out new outage reporting rules.
Government is currently reviewing its national energy policy.
Introduction, new direct airline service between the Cayman Islands and Barbados.
The route must make sense for the Cayman Islands and Cayman Airways.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Welcome back to For the Record. I'm joined here in the studio with Mr. Wray Banker, Mr. Nick Robson, and Mrs. Stuart Wilson. I don't know if there's still a caller on the line, but we were talking about the link. You were mentioning a link between, you think there's a link between Pedro and the
Jackson's Wall. Yes, absolutely.
Why
Certainly
do you think that? I mean, there's an old road.
Well, not
Hurst
just
Road is probably an old road, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, certainly there's the element of proximity, but they're both on opposite coasts, and I think that they lend themselves, to the sea in terms of, things being able to arrive on shore quite easily, and then
There's structural elements about.
Certainly, there are structural elements about the way the limestone is sort of used to make the building as well. And I've seen that also in West Virginia, that the plantations there, the same kind of limestone. In fact, they have a limestone quarry right next to the actual plantation in West Virginia. And the house that I went to is called Belle Grove Plantation, and it's a place where George Washington would go to for lunch and tea and visit with very prominent people. And it's built like a big slab of stone. But what I love about those houses, those limes, when they build them with limestone, is that inside of they're so cool.
Do they
stone
protect
makes
some
it
of
so
those old buildings up in the northeast and stuff?
Yeah,
'Cause you see some
big time. And I think too that's why we're trying to do. We really want to see our historic structures protected, because I must tell you that just like our species of flora and fauna are endangered, the blue iguana and all these creatures, our buildings, our traditional buildings, are also endangered, because the materials that are used to build old traditional style Caymanian structures are also very limited. And with the ironwood, you can't harvest it.
Cayman.
Yeah, the coral that's used in the wattle and daub, you can't harvest it.
Yeah.
The silver thatch is a limited amount, simply because of the area that it grows in. And so the materials to build an old-time traditional Caymanian house are just as endangered as the actual species that we try to protect. It's very touchy.
We had
We have two calls, Ray. Let's keep the calls rolling in and see where it takes us.
Yeah.
Here's one now. Welcome. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I wanted to point out regarding the conversation of Cayman's history in the area of Newlands and Pedro.
Okay.
And Simon, your discussion of Duck Pond, I believe that there has been some artifacts found which prove and historical references to Duck Pond itself having been a careenage where ships, boats, schooners,
and a turtle
and
coral.
larger ships were brought in to be hauled over for cleaning and for maintenance in the past, and I'm quite sure that proximity is connected to that part of our history.
Interesting point. Absolutely. The careening ground, I think, is as you enter the Duck Pond, is on the kind of north side of it. I think where the caller is saying, they would turn the ships over on the side if the ships would get things like teredo worms and things, and so they would start. We were just talking in the call about pumping out a ship when it was sinking, but it was important to kind of fix it back. So what do you think, Stuart? Are you in agreement that it's possibly all kind of linked and tied together?
Absolutely.
It's a good sheltered area.
100%. That area was a thoroughfare of activity.
Yeah.
It was part of a commercial area.
And also, hurricane and storms, obviously the boats would go in there. I mean, I don't know if people realize our boats or schooners were designed to go into the North Sound. Their draft and everything was designed to go in there. Just like today, all the boats are designed to go through the Panama Canal. Our Cayman boats were all designed to go into the North Sound, for shelter. And
I guess even today we use it for hurricanes. Some people, if they can't get them out of the water.
Some of the interesting things we found down there, pipe stems. So we sent off the pipe stems to analyze the tobacco in them to find out which factories made them and from what year. It's coming from.
Where are some of the pipes from?
Well, we waiting on those results. Okay. Yeah. We just wrapped this up maybe 3 weeks ago. So I mean, we really a lot of things are being analyzed at the moment. Some in back at Temple, some in.
I hope you make the report public.
Minnesota. Oh, absolutely. And there is a preliminary report which we've submitted to the ministry, and
we've got a couple. We got 2 other callers lining up now, but let's just quickly go back to the caller.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to mention it interests me the conversation regarding Cayman's territorial waters, and it as a special economic zone. I believe it is extremely important for Cayman as a people to address this issue and formulate a solution to it. One of our natural resources is our marine reserves, and to have longliners, trawlers, which by the way are from around the world, harvesting the pelagics out of the Caribbean Sea, it's something that we should be protecting ourselves from over exploitation of, and it is also something which has potential to be, if done in the right way, beneficial for the Cayman Islands and her people. And there is a necessity for this to be addressed. And even though I heard the mention of the British having to be the ones who negotiate this, I would like to see something happen wherein it's the people of the Cayman Islands who push this forward, because we are the ones who are, for better or worse, going to be negatively or positively affected by it. I'll follow up with this before I leave.
Thank you.
As I heard mention of, removing Discovery Day, as it is called, I would like to propose that the true history of the Caribbean, including the Cayman Islands, be put into the education system much more intricately and deeply as it is done today. History is not something which is always pretty or easy to accept, but history should not be removed or deleted from our human story simply because it is not politically correct, or simply because some people might not want to know any given truth, regardless of who that person is or who a certain group is or anything of that nature. History is our lesson moving forward.
I think I know who this caller is, and thank you for your points. It's very interesting that you should say that, because I think it was one of your family members who reprinted the original history that was written back in 1910, the notes on the history of the Cayman Islands. And in that book, they had access to the original documents because in 1972, the government administration burnt down a tragic disaster for the Cayman Islands, and with it went most of the records. But I think most of the children in the Cayman Islands in the schools don't have access to that book that your family member reprinted back in the late 60s.
Actually, that was the history of the Cayman Islands.
The history of the Cayman Islands.
Correctly by Critchlow. I think that text was remaining, unless we're talking about something different.
It does remain, but I don't think it's in wide circulation. It's not very easy for people to access. I did check, and there is a copy in the library. Thank you, though, for the call. We do have another caller. Is that right, Susan? Yeah, we're going to go to another caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Simon, and to all of you again. Raymond here.
Mr. Raymond.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, good morning. Just would like to mention about the phosphate trade out of Cayman Brac.
I remember the railway track.
I was, in fact, just going to raise that point because I was sitting here thinking about it, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yes, sir. Well, in my family's area, the old stone wall where you used to have the railroad track placed on it is just about 15 feet from my mother's house, Miss Millie Scott, deceased now. It remains alongside that, about 15 feet away from the house, and it's a historical landmark. It's about 100 feet of it left, and I'm preserving that for it not to be disturbed, to remain as the only remembrance of the phosphate export from Cayman Brac. And the railroad track came from the cotton tree land, which Scott Development's property. And it came to a barca there, which is called Cudda's Wharf. Winifred Scott, or Miss Cudda, was my grandmother, and the barca there is named after her. And during the times of increasing the size of the barca there to accommodate the boats from the schooner, they used gunpowder to shape out the barca there into a larger area. The barca there is about 75 feet long into the iron shore, and about out at the edge is about 10 feet deep, and in close it's about 3 feet deep. So the boats used to come from the schooner Topsy, which was wrecked in 1889, December the 6th, 1889. The Topsy wrecked off West End Cayman Brac. That's just about west of my house here, near the West End Cemetery, straight north from the Barracuda Bar in that area. And that stopped the phosphate trade, discontinued the phosphate trade from Cayman Brac going to Tampa, Florida on December the 6th, 1889. I have the full story on it with a publication I traced it down through Lloyd's of London Shipping Intelligence, and I have actually the report on it. I have to put my hands on it. It's in my filing cabinet. But they had 6 crew members on board I think it was a 3-masted schooner, Topsy, and all 6 crew members, the captain and 5 crew, all drowned here at the West End.
In a hurricane? No.
It was probably something like a strong northwester came in while it was at anchor, and they didn't get out in time, and it dragged the anchor or broke the anchor and just floundered on the coastline on the shallows, and everyone was drowned.
Perished. Wow.
They had a 16-year-old cabin boy that used to take care of the cabins, clean the rooms, and he had the same name of you, Simon. He was named Simon. 16-year-old, and as far as I remember, most of them, I think, was from Canada. The Topsy was built in Canada. I think it was about an 80-ton, if my mind serves me right, 80-ton 2- or 3-masted schooner that used to load the phosphate and take it to Tampa, Florida. That was one location. Also, there is a location on the Spot Bay Bluff near Peters Cave Road, far to the west, in the midst of the forest, that people used to go and dig it with shovels and pickaxe and put it in baskets and bike it off the bluff, roughly 130 feet high, carry it out to the coastline, and then boats would come and take it from there.
No roads, no cars. Mr. Raymond, we got to go to the news headlines. I guess the guano industry. Thank you very much. We're going to go to news headlines.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Caymanian swimmer and University of Tennessee star Jordan Crooks is on to the finals of the men's 50-meter freestyle at the 2023 World Aquatics Championships in Japan. This after finishing 5th in the semis this morning. Finals are taking place tonight at 8:10 p.m. Donald Trump is accused of pressuring an employee to delete security footage at his Florida home and new criminal charges related to his alleged mishandling of classified files. The new indictment adds 1 count of willful retention of defense information and 2 of obstruction, making 40 charges in total in this case. Mr. Trump denies any wrongdoing and has called the prosecutor, quote, deranged. He's fighting multiple legal cases as he runs for president again. A British-built spacecraft is expected to fall to Earth later today after completing a transformative mission to map the planet's winds. The Olis satellite fired a laser down through the atmosphere to track the movement of air in any location at every altitude all around the world. Its success means replacements are already being planned, but the project very nearly failed to get off the ground at all because of difficulty in making the probe work. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
It's one of the best moments of your life when you welcome your baby into the world. The HSA's experienced women's health and maternity team provides the highest quality of care throughout your pregnancy and delivery. As a JCI accredited hospital, we are the leader in maternal care, safely delivering over 700 babies annually. Visit hsa.ky for more information. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Thank you very much. We're back. This is O.C. Connor Show. I'm filling the very big shoes of Mr. O.C. Connor while he's on vacation. Ray, any sort of comments about that, the fertilizer, the guano? I know Swan Island had a big industry as well. 17 members of the Jefferson family were born in the Swan Islands, which is southwest of us. But getting back to what Mr. Raymond Scott said, do you have any comments on it?
Yeah, Little Cayman also has a tract of the guano mining industry. I thought it was. We talked during the break. It's not a National Trust site apparently, but it's well. It seems to be well preserved. I don't know who's doing it, but it seems to be well preserved. But all three islands had the guano industry. When we were doing the Stepwell site, the Kirk's Bayside Mall, we found some of the axles of the thing, and everybody says it's the railway track. There's some in West Bay and everything. I kept hearing it all through, when I was growing up. I couldn't figure out where it is. Really, it's a mining. You have to think of it. It's a mining cart thing. Okay. These are smaller. I guess you see it on the cartoons where you see the two guys, pushing pumping it along. Those type of cart, not like a choo-choo
big
train. It was just most of the time it was just a flat, kind of like a pallet-sized cart, and you would put the sacks on that, and that would lead it out to the ships and stuff.
Got two more callers on there. I'm really appreciating all these calls. Let's hear what we got. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator, and to your guests. I tuned in a little late. This is Steve McField.
Dr. McField.
Good morning, Dr.
McField.
Good morning.
There is an old saying, not a saying, it's an old saying by many people, many professors, that history is always written and interpreted by the class of the people who are in power. And there is no doubt whatsoever, the paperwork is all there in the original documents, that emancipation was erased from our holiday system because of certain people who were in power at the time in the 1980s. When I left here in the 1960s and went on to Canada, we were celebrating Emancipation Day. And I was surprised that when I came back, and I had gone for so many years, and when I came back, and I reached Miami, and I got on to Cayman Airways, there was a magazine on Cayman Airways, I don't know, I can't recall what it is now, but there were articles written in it, and one of the articles said there were no slavery in Cayman, and I was shocked and surprised that they could put out a blatant lie like that. There was no slavery in Cayman, but there were reasons why they did that. You must remember now that our economics windfall came from the downfall of the white government in Bahamas, and when they start coming here, they wanted to make sure that we in Cayman were not did not associate ourselves with the black government there, and so they put all of these lies saying that we were quite different. There was no slavery here, so there's nothing to worry about. But just let me tell you, Kearns, who writes the so-called history of Cayman, leaves the period out about the uprising here after Emancipation Day in 1834. Crichton leaves that part out. Kearns, there's a book called The Lawless Caymanian, documents that side of our history quite quite good. Between Emancipation Day and August 1835, there was an uprising here. In fact, if you hear the gentleman who works at Pedro Castle talks about Lord Sligo, that's true. But Lord Sligo had to send a man called Dr. Thompson here from Jamaica,
right,
with a contingent of the West Indian Regiment, who were all black men, and that infuriated the white planters here, white farmers here who had to give up their slaves. And one of the reasons for that was because when after emancipation, then you had to work 4 to 5 years as an apprentice. Because remember now, Jamaica and all those other countries didn't give up slavery until 1838, because they went into the apprenticeship system. The slaves in Caymanian refused to go into the apprenticeship system. They refused to work for the people who had them in slavery.
I think that's true, but they also didn't register them as well.
Exactly. They refused to work for them. And as a result, there was a really lawless system here between then, that they had to send a contingent of West Indian regiments here.
I actually found one of the buttons from the West India Regiment on the property of my father's land, actually, in like what they call Old Prospect area.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Was that donated to the museum?
No, I didn't give it yet.
Oh, sorry. Because we have one.
It was that time that Lord Sligo decided to free the Caymanians. Caymanians were the first free people.
In the whole...
Freer than America, first free people.
That's right.
From slavery. In the Caribbean and all in North America, Caymanians were the first freed people because of what the Lord Sligo did the year after emancipation. Freed them completely because he knew that there was going to be a real bloodshed here.
I remember there's something in the account that the landowners were thunderstruck by the announcement or something like that. It was very interesting, Dr. McField. So I do want to quickly read something that I found when I had access to a newspaper archive. The Public Advertiser from April 1782. At Montego Bay, January 26th, Thursday last arrived the schooner Fanny from the Grand Caymanas with 80 slaves, being part of the cargo of the ship Nelly. Captain Fairweather, belonging to Liverpool, bound for Old Calabar to this port, but unfortunately mistaking Point Pedro of this island for Bacau on the south side of Hispaniola, ran down to the Grand Caymanas, where the ship was lost on the reef, and 160 slaves, besides one of the crew, perished. Captain Fairweather, with the remainder of the slaves, are at the Caymanas, waiting for an opportunity for this port. So I wonder whether some of those original Caymanian slaves were probably from...
Well, I know that they traded. They traded some of the slaves.
They
traded some of the slaves for salvaging.
Did they? So there is some suggestion some of those would have remained.
And sorry, go ahead.
So it was then. It was 1 year later that Caymanians became free, completely free. And when Lord Park went to Cayman Brac, and he read the proclamation there, a lot of the slaves said, we don't accept that. We want to stay with our masters. That's all in the book. That's all in the archives. And remember now, when I read this article in the Cayman Airways magazine, there were no archives here. It was the archives on the Cayman since, and I was speaking to Dr. Pedley about that.
Late Philip Pedley.
And Dr. Pedley was telling me, yes, he says there are a lot of misinformation here in the Cayman Islands about it, but the truth is in the paperwork. You cannot hide that truth. That truth is in the paperwork. And he told me that only 15% of the history of Cayman Islands were in those days are in the archives, because the others are scattered in Jamaica, UK, and most in Scotland.
Very much. That is the truth, Dr. McField. You are so correct about that, because we had to go through the Jamaica to find out about the emancipation payouts, the claims, and that's when we found out that Mr. Jackson had been paid for 6 slaves that he owned from Jackson's Wall.
There's actually a UK site that has a lot of details and stuff on it that came on.
I've got an original book with a list of names of people.
That's spot on. It's
We do have another caller. I'm sorry. Dr. McField, thank you for that contribution as well.
I just would like to say before you go.
Yeah.
So the most disruptive thing that ever happened in Cayman was emancipation. And because what that did, it caused a great exodus between 1850 and 1870. When
so where the Bay Islands?
Half the population left and went to the Bay Islands.
Bay Islands.
That's an interesting story to be told as well.
A lot of my family ended up in Cuba. Right. I got a lot of family in Isle of Pines.
Yeah, Isle of Pines too.
Yeah.
I think that, the Bay Islands were effectively uninhabited. There was some Garifuna there, but we're going to go to the call and then we got a break. So let's get this caller in. Dr. McField, thanks. Welcome to Talk Today.
Yes, good morning. This Simon?
Yes.
Good morning, Simon.
Good to hear you. How are you doing?
Okay, and good morning to you guests too.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay, you are talking about slavery.
We covered the topic. We ended up on it. We just touching on it. I think it's an interesting topic that probably deserves a lot more discussion. But we were really focusing on museum and National Trust activities. But we did end up on it, and it's an interesting one. We got a couple of minutes before the break, but go ahead with your comment, if that's okay.
Okay. So we still have slavery here in Cayman. Because the majority of our Caymanians aren't even able to save enough money to take their family on a vacation, not even once a year. And a big part of that are companies like CUC. A big part of that is that minimum wage. And after they take out health insurance and pension and that, you get nothing. And then another thing that coming soon, that can make us even bigger slaves when those banks start heightening those interest rates. Thank you very much.
Well, here's an interesting observation for you, caller. CUC, their major shareholder, is a large Canadian company. How about that?
We're going to just go to the break. Thank you, caller. Thank you.
The STEPS 2023 National Health Survey has been extended to September 3rd to maximise participation and give us the best data possible. If you've been chosen to participate, please say yes to Step 3. For more information, contact the STEPS team on 936 4969 or email mhwsteps@gov.ky.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Hey, is your phone slow, overheating, and dropping important calls? Don't fret. This summer, it's time to flip out with Digicel. Introducing the all-new Samsung Flip 4 with its sleek design and cutting-edge features. You'll flip into the summer in style and confidence. This summer, you can grab the all-new Samsung Flip 4, all just for $145. Flip into the summer with Digicel. Visit a Digicel store near you and grab the all-new Samsung Flip 4 and the amazing 7-day Prime Ultra plan today.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Welcome back to For the Record. I'm very pleased to be joined here in the studio by Mr. Wray Banker, Mr. Nick Robson, and Mrs. Stuart Wilson. We actually have two more callers on the line, so we're going to get straight to it. Caller, welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning. This is Lucy Seymour here.
Morning.
I'm not here. I'm not here to expand on the elucidation of the current topic. I'm only here to give a piece of information regarding emancipation. I'm a generational Caymanian, born many decades ago. And when I went to school, every August there was a holiday, and it was called Emancipation Day. But in 1958, just before we changed our constitution, it was taken out of our history. What is interesting, and I'll leave it at this, that none of our cultural or historical agencies has ever tried to talk about it or to bring it forward. It's not just about slavery. It's about the history of black people in the Cayman Islands. And it's not just about slavery that we have emancipation. And that's not the only reason. I mean, emancipation should not be the only reason that it is talked about. But I find that very, very interesting. We have tried, many Caymanians have tried to resuscitate it, and it has never. And yet we have many historical and cultural agencies in our country, and nothing has been ever even tried to talk about it. I find that quite interesting. And so I'll leave you at that, but I wanted to give you a historical date, that 1958, just before the Constitution of the Cayman Islands, in 1959, it was taken out by the politicians.
That's so interesting.
Unfortunately.
Thank you so much for that contribution and all your contribution over the years, Miss Lucille. So I do know Mr. Alfonso Wright has been trying to work on something, but they're putting it on you guys. She's saying, why not?
Well, I'm here.
Stuart,
Yes,
Ray?
I have a great deal of respect for Mrs. Seymour and her contribution to our country as well. And what I would say is that we as the National Trust are talking about it now. I mean, me, obviously, we just did a dig at Jackson's Wall, and part of what we've discovered are these records where the gentleman who owned the site was paid out in the emancipation claims, and we're in no way, shape or form trying to hide that. We're letting people know that this actually was a plantation, and I, for one, as the historic programs manager, I advocate for emancipation. They separate and apart from the National Trust. Just personally, as a man of color, a black man, and this is my, part of my wanting to have a closer look at Jackson's Wall is because of those same concerns, really, and
yes, I could spend a whole day telling you about the disadvantages in the Cayman Islands being my mother used to call it being a colored person. I prefer the word black because it's a very nice word, especially in money dealings. And the day that Cayman respects the color black, I think is the day that we will have changed the tenor of our culture and our history. It's so sad. I was a teacher, and it was so sad with some of the children how we disrupt their minds on their color because their color is black. So sad. I'm glad I had the mother I had and the grandmother. My grandmother was a West Bear and kind of high tone, as my mother would say, in a high tone color. So she never made us even once think that we were anything else but black. Not in a derogative way, in a very positive way. She did it. And I think that's why I'm where I am and I'm who I am. Because
you've
I had a
achieved so much.
great-grandmother. You know, thank you very much.
Well, Miss Lucille, you've always been an outstanding
Can you get
lady.
close to the mic, Nick? But can we just give Ray an opportunity? Because you've been at the museum a long time, Ray.
Yeah.
Is it something, do you think you've deliberately has been...
It's definitely lacking slavery and the African diaspora or links. Obviously, we're getting back our DNA and things like that, and we're finding out, obviously, I mean, you can't be in the Caribbean. How many 10 million Africans were sent here over the years. We were a slave society. Mr. Steve can tell you that. We were a slave society. Some of the first land grants mentioned slaves. It was to do with logging, mahogany logging. So we're definitely a slave society, and it's not enough has been done on it. I mean, to say that we haven't touched on it, I've done a 2.5-hour show on slavery on the radio a couple of years back.
I guess it sounds like there's people would like to see more. So Miss Susan did mention 2 more calls on the line, so we're going to keep them moving along here. Caller, you're on Talk Today. Welcome. I mean, for the record.
Good morning. Good morning.
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 Good morning to Dr. Maxfield, just for checking in. Multi-talented Mr. Wray Banker. Good morning. Simon, my friend, think you gonna make it out of this one? I just wishing you well because it seemed tough going this morning. But anyway,
it's unmute it.
Person to person and for humanity's sake, we all should consider what our grandchildren, our generations that the Bible talks about, the third and the fourth, will have to go through because of the horrible things that we do in our own time when we're young and strong and have the authority and the ability and the wherewithal to make animals out of fellow human beings. And that's a lot of what's going on here. And I don't know if this world is going to get any further than this because the load on the white descendants is what's holding this back. And it ain't going anywhere until somebody of caliber says, I'm sorry, and really mean it. Anyway, I hope you make it out on the other side, friend, and spread the news that humanity is humanity in all of our hues. In our kinky hair, I wanted them with the kinky hair, and I don't really straighten it.
At least you have some.
Because I don't want to lose myself in ignorance. But anyway, good morning, and thank you for the subject. Bye.
Thank you. Ray, it looked like you wanted to jump in again.
No. That was just
Next caller on the line. Please, welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
And Ray and the other.
Morning, sir.
Yeah. I have to make this comment because I think that this is the most uncomfortable conversation in the Cayman Islands. I don't believe that there's any society in which the conversation of race and equality is so uncomfortable as in the Cayman Islands. And this goes to show why there has been no progress in equipping people of color, I'll say that so everybody can feel comfortable, to equip them with the types of skills and ability to socially adjust and progress that has been actually needed at least for forever. When I came back here in 1977, and I understood the society because of my studies abroad and suggested certain things, like the fact that we didn't need a middle school, but we needed early childhood education because the families were not equipped with the types of intellectual resources to give their children the head start which they needed. What we did is we went into a situation to pretend that everybody is equal, and we gave kids social promotion, and then they were disqualified in the workplace. They got frustrated, and they got into drugs and gangs and baby mother thing and baby father thing and all of that sort of thing, never forming the types of social stability which the island really needs. And we're now beginning to feel severely the consequences of this. I have been silent on this island, made silent because I believe that until the injustices are recognized and corrected, there will always be.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Exaggeration in between the people in terms of inequalities of abilities.
Dr. Frank, and Nick was wondering if he could ask you a question.
We're going to say, why didn't you speak out more?
Why? Where have you been, sir?
I've been here for 56 years, thank you.
Okay, did you remember the public eye program that ran for 10 years?
I do.
Do you remember the New Vision magazine? Do you remember my plays that most of them have not been performed, but enough have been performed for you? If you were looking out for these ideas, you would have found them in Time Longer Than Rope, Downside Up, Playground, and other plays that I have
I must agree. Dr. Frank has
So-
been...
I didn't know who you were, sir.
Yeah, he's
it's
been...
just a
he's
voice
been-
on the other end of the line.
He has been very...
Well, it's not. I've been
raised the
serious.
profile more than most.
I have been at the forefront since 1977 in terms of informing people about the calamity which comes when inequalities in a society are not addressed.
I would have to agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think he knew who you were, Dr. Frank.
The fact of the hypocrisy of this society that continues to every once in a while pick at this issue and then run away from it, when I have been putting that before them for many years. My thesis, which was based upon Notting Hill Gate in London, is entitled Race, Racism, and Social Control. And I have understood these issues. I've said that I'm a believer in integrated society. I don't have problems with people because of color or cultures or nationalities. I learn from everything that is different. I absorb it so that I can improve my identity, because my identity I do not see as something that is stagnant, like dirty water. It is something that is flowing, and it should be allowed to, and it should be allowed to in this society. And Simon can testify to the fact that he learned so much from the Caymanian community as he grew up, as being and emulating them to the extent where he felt comfortable with that particular part of him. And him and his friends like Nick Joseph were examples of how things show how things have changed, because no children of that color, white, is doing that today that I know of, that you can recognize this exchange happening, because each color, each culture, regardless of how low it is put in the human ecology, has something to teach. And this is where we need to go. But the politicians that are connected to the merchant ruling classes in this country have always had this phobia that if you talk about it and you just don't patronize people, and rather than educate them, because if you educate them, then they might want what you have, and that we're not going to do. So I'm happy that this conversation started. I'm happy to have been able to make these remarks, because I do think that if Emancipation Day was recognized, it would attest to the fact that Cayman has accomplished something in coming this forward, where there is not that kind of lifetime slavery, where people do have mobility, where people like myself, coming from my family, have gotten an education and all of those things. There are things to be proud of if people are willing to embrace progress. Thank you.
Dr. Frank,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Dr.
and
Frank.
thanks for your
Thank you.
contribution. We are actually going to go to another break. We've got two more callers on the line, and we really look forward to hearing from you too in a minute, and thank you.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual-specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Looking to grow your business? We got this. Yellow Media Group has a proven track record for successfully marketing over 10,000 businesses on the web, expanding our customers' reach and providing measurable results. With the Caribbean's largest team of certified digital consultants, we handle everything from website development to search engine marketing and much more. So don't worry, we got this. For a free consultation, contact Lee Hipkins at 936-1981.
Beach and Reggae Sundays on Breeze 105.3 FM from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Governor Square open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Grand Harbor open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and open on Sundays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Welcome back to For the Record. Thank you very much. We've been having some really interesting discussions. We're going to get right to the calls. We've got 2 more on the line. And go ahead, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Again. As somebody who knows Dr. Frank Maxfield as good as I can know him as a public person, and I surely do appreciate him, there were times to the gentleman who's been here 15 people, Simon telling me that means?
Mr. Nick Robson, yeah, over 50 years.
That, there were times when I thought that he should have been concerned for his safety back in the day. Well, this is the day of Me Too and Black Lives Matter, so I hope he's got a little more freedom, he's shaking the shackles from overseas, because, Caymanians not going to do anything to ward it out. But from overseas, as an international covenant, it seems to me that we've got a little more freedom. But there were times, sir, when he was the only voice. I wouldn't say the only one, but it was many more than him in the wilderness crying. And lots of times I think his folly is that we don't understand what he's saying.
He's a smart man. He's very intelligent.
He won't benefit us. We're singing it simple, but he has to sing it simple to me. He's my favorite. He's my first favorite storyteller. Mr. Bernard is the second. Sir, he has spoken. But I believe that we, the Caymanian people, and the black people, like I say, I got my kinky hair, proud of it, now kinky and gray. We you know, we wouldn't listen. We don't listen because that don't include a car and, you know, something else.
You don't hear you had a feel?
We don't listen to common people. But he has spoken, sir. He has spoken a lot, and it's usually spoken standing alone.
I do think once he recognized the voice, he did acknowledge that Dr. McField, and I think you're right. I think for a long time he was kind of a lone voice out there. So
as was Roy Bodden.
Mr. Roy Bodden, yeah. I mean, and Mr. Roy's, Dr. Williams is now working away in the college. We do have another caller. Do you want to make any comments? Anybody else quickly before we go to the caller, or we go straight to a caller? Thank you for your call. Welcome to For the Record. Welcome.
Yes, good morning again, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Just the gentleman that asked Dr. Frank McField what he has done and that you were here 56 years. Where are you from?
Pull the mic a little closer, please, Nick.
I don't see what relevance that has, caller.
Well, I'd just like to say this, okay? Since you don't want to have a normal conversation with me, I'd just like to say this. First of all, the way you asked that man that question was very disrespectful.
Jonathan,
okay?
The gentleman did not identify himself, and I did not recognize his voice. I have nothing further to say to you.
I think we'll leave it at that. But yeah, thank you. I think he did explain that he once he recognized it was Dr. Frank, he did acknowledge that he'd and he just wanted to know. We do have another call on the line. Sorry to cut that one short. Caller, go ahead. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. I mean, it's been an interesting experience, and it's tough sitting in the seat for OC, but I'm glad I got some really kind of interesting people and some calls coming in. Love the sound of the chickens.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
My name is Moxham, Lennox Moxham.
Mr. Moxham, yeah. I think I know you. Good to hear you. How are you doing?
Baking and baking. Well, not me baking, but we baking a lot of stuff up here, you know.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I just have a interesting question for you guys. You know, when property is in the sense is owned by the Crown, who has top priority in the Cayman Islands to sell it, lease it, or give it away, or what? Who has the final okay, or gives the final okay on that?
Interesting question.
Crown property?
Crown land. I mean, what they call the Queen's Bottom, I guess. I mean, there are different boards that probably, I know in terms of like, if you want to do any kind of work on the edge of the water, put in a dock or something like that, then there's, I think is it I don't know.
Certainly the FCO would probably be the place to start with.
I don't think it really belongs to the Queen as such, or whatever. The Crown land, I think, is still for the Caymanian people to decide what happens to it. I think maybe back in the day it might have belonged to the Queen, but I think that's more of an expression than the facts.
We hope.
We hope. We hope.
The reason why I asked that question is because the bakery is located in Cayman Brac, the Pioneer Bakery. You might be familiar with that. Mm-hmm. Right next door is the old police station that the police have vacated now, and it seems as if like it's being used as a dumping ground for cars that get into crashes and fatalities were sort of involved. And now, to me, it's a health hazard, and it's right. You can step from the bakery to the police station. Let's put it that way. And I've been asking for now, from time they left, who do you talk to be able for us to be able to purchase it? No one. The 19 people that represent the Cayman Islands and the executives or whoever it is in charge no one can give me a final decision or an answer on what could take place in the future, because we can't buy going to the road. We have property, we own the property in the back, but the police station, according to them, is falling apart, which I know it's way from the truth. The bakers seem to have been there long before the police station, and matter of fact, after Paloma, a lot of major renovations went into the police station. That I know a lot. I watch every bit of concrete and steel that have been put, especially into the cell blocks. And just for the...
Was this the one that had the crack in the wall that the police moved out of?
There's no crack in the wall. What happened when that crack, or those cracks, when they were renovating it, they didn't take the time to wash the salt out of the sand that they plastered it with back. So it's the plastering where the salt and sort of turn into water that is causing the cracks. There's no such thing as the building cracking. Because if the building were cracking, the baker would be cracking. But it's really plastered. You know, those buildings were built, I guess, well, the baker been there from 1954. So I guess it's probably around the same time. But what I'm getting about, whether the building is cracking or not, they're not going to build another police station there. They're only using it to put cars that I can see. It's 2 cars there now that have been parked there for quite a few years. And it's a hazard to me, because...
What happens when you ask them if they can, have you asked them, I would start with lands and survey or planning, but like, I wonder whether if you just ask them, can you move them? Because it's kind of I know the area you're talking about, it's across from the launch ramp, it's kind of an area, it's a thoroughfare, tourists passing it, the bakery is a popular place to
Perhaps the Department of Environmental Health would be the people to move abandoned vehicles.
But his point is, I think he wants to see about who owns the property,
who owns it,
whether
if
he
it's
could,
crown.
yeah, whether he can acquire
who wants
it.
to buy it.
Yeah.
Maybe check a lawyer.
Sir, before I just go any further with this, an OC captain, I never call his name, but I was discussing the same topic with the host of this radio station here, for the record, Mr. Connor, sometime last year, it could have been a year ago. And the OC captain called in just after I finished my conversation with OC, and he said he'll give Mark one bit of advice, that if he had blonde hair and blue eyes, he would have got it long time. And believe it or not, I'm starting to really believe that, you know, I need to get a new owner or a blonde with blue eyes.
Stuart's laughing. Mr. Mogson.
That's my next move. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, too. Thanks for your call. Have a good weekend. We're going to flip to a break, and then we're going to come back and wind it up. But thank you.
The show breaking.
Are you ready for a midsummer miracle? Get ready for the Christmas in July sale at Tortuga and discount retail stores. All July, Tortuga is bringing exclusive Red Dot deals in store. Discover incredible savings on selected items that will make your summer merrier. But hurry, the Red Dot deal is available while stock lasts during regular store trading hours. Don't miss the once in a summertime offer to save on your favorite beverages and more with Christmas in July. Visit a Tortuga and discount retail stores near you.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Yo, big up Massive. Summer is here and Digicel got the vibes flowing straight to Jamaica. That's right, me people. Digicel has a sizzling offer for you. Top up for your loved ones in Jamaica and you get a chance to win the ultimate trip to the land of sun, sea and good vibes. To enter for the free trip to Jamaica, just send top up to your loved ones back home with Digicel and you automatically qualify. Remember, the more top up you send, the higher the chance you win. So make sure you don't miss out on the fun. Me people, get the summer vibes flowing with a top up for your loved ones with Digicel and get ready for a trip of a lifetime.
Why replace when you can respray? At Granite Express Cayman, we can completely transform your old kitchen cabinets with a fresh kitchen respray for just a fraction of the cost of buying new ones. Big news! Our summer special promo is here. We are offering kitchen countertop specials up to 50 square feet installed for only $1,595 CI for granite and $1,895 for quartz. We can make your dream kitchen come true and at a price to suit all budgets. Call 922-0424 for a free estimate, friendly service, fast installation. Hurry! Limited time only while supplies last. Visit GraniteExpressCayman.com.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Okay, welcome back to For the Record. We're winding it up here. We do have a caller on the line. And just Stuart has got to jet and go. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity, Stuart, and thank you for coming on today from the National Trust.
Yes, and I apologize if I've opened a can of worms, but I think these things obviously need to be said, and I guess it's important to have this kind of discourse.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say before I leave is that the government is doing an environmental impact study for the East-West Arterial, and the National Trust. My office has been asked to assist in terms of some of the historic properties that might lie within that corridor. And so we are now having to update our heritage register, which we do fairly often, once a year or
what
once
does
every
that mean?
2 years.
So if they spot something,
so yeah, if there's a historic home in the particular area that they, and I think this is a good thing, great move on the part of the government, because they're not just looking at the environment, they're looking at the built heritage aspects of this as well. And so I say kudos to them for that. And we're going to be just letting folks know that we're going to be out in the National Trust bus with some of our volunteers and some of our historic committee looking to find out which of these homes are more significant than others, and which are updating the register.
Part of the character as you drive around, like there's
yeah. And like I said to you, the Caymanian traditional home is just as endangered as our blue iguana and even the species. Yeah, because the ironwood you can't get that anymore. You can't. It's protected. You can't harvest coral to make waddling dog.
And we work with the traditional artists, and they're telling us that the thatch.
The thatch is
hard to get.
Absolutely, there's a limited resource. I mean, obviously just based on
kill the tree to get the thatch. So can you just take some of it, or you have to take the lot? Does it kill the tree to take the thatch?
No. The top for like years, it's been in the tradition to get the top. The traditional artist knows even if you get for the leaves you use for thatching, the tops you use for what they want. There's a way of leaving it. It doesn't kill the tree. You can kill the tree, but if you know what you're doing.
So so just before I go, I just want to say that we will be out there in the community, trying to locate these different, sort of. What we want to look at is what makes some houses more significant than others, and which ones are the most significant ones, and how we should go about protecting those, within this sphere of what's being considered for this new road.
Well, thank you, Stuart, and thank you for the work you're doing on National Trust with the historical programs and the Jackson Wall and everything else.
It's a pleasure being here. Thanks for having us this
morning. I really
morning,
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank
you. We do have a caller. Take care, Stuart, and catch up soon. Caller, you're on talk for the record. Please go ahead. Welcome.
Yes, good morning again to you, gentlemen. Just quickly. Our passports do say this is the property of the Crown. That's what it is. So I guess the Crown means something there, as well as the land. A little bit of history that I'm glad Dr. Seamarty calling about the regiment that came here. Yes, I knew about it, and that's why I said it wasn't working here, the apprenticeship system. There had been those uprisings, and they had, and I knew incidents that happened, and I have historic records of that, and who was involved and so forth. But anyhow, putting that aside, many people might not know that the leader of the Contras, that band of mercenaries who were heavily supported by President Reagan and Colonel North, God bless their support to help fight communism there, he was an Eden Pastora. He used to keep in touch with the family many years ago. And he became a preacher, and I have a piece of a letter that he had sent to us some Christmas, some 20 years ago or so. Yeah. But just a little bit of history here that many people might not know.
There was links with the Hyde Shipping Company, I think, to the Iran-Contra stuff as well, and obviously also Lee Rich's activities. Mr. Halstead, we do have to make some last comments, and I do hope that we're gonna have another show on Monday, and that you'll call in and talk, because I'm going to be back on. And I've got to be on another show. I don't know why, but I do. I'm sorry to. That's very interesting, though. Eden Pistorius. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, there's a Watler. I thought he was going to talk about. There's a Watler that I heard that was a head of something in Nicaragua was like.
I have an old book from 1708. It's called The British Empire in America, actually, but it talks about Mr. John Bowden in business with a Richard Walter, and they actually had a slave ship together, which was acting in contravention of their Royal African Company's monopoly. And I wondered whether the reason why maybe the Waddlers and Boddens are so strong in the region, like the Bayanans and on the Mosquito Shore of Nicaragua and various places, is maybe because of the turtles. I mean, the turtles, you didn't have any, you couldn't take only a certain amount of live animals on the ship. Obviously, there were no refrigerators or freezers.
Yeah. But so turtles
lasted, so you could cross these giant oceans. Like
you could go all the way to London with the live
people
turtles.
alive. So the turtle industry probably is linked to the, there were even in Port Royal, I noticed that there are quite a lot of Boddens and Wattlers and things. Last comments as we wind it up. I really appreciate you. We didn't really get as deeply into the border issue, Nick, as maybe we could have done, but it was an interesting conversation.
Get Robert in the next time.
Get Robert in next time, Mr. Scotland, Commander Scotland. Good point.
Just for me, I guess, for closing, would be just something practical. Come to the museum.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of Caymanians, a lot of residents that have not been there yet. Amazing as that sounds, yeah.
How much is a membership?
There's different levels of membership. I would say go to our website, museum.ky, to find out. Go to our social media. But just practical, like I said, we got a 20-minute video of everything about Cayman. It's the first time I've ever saw it.
Do children get to go for free or anything?
We've got a rate for students and children, under a certain age.
And you said you've got something coming up about Miss Ross?
Miss Leela Ross is our next exhibit that we plan to open up.
And just tell Cayman about that again, just in case the callers are just...
Well, like I say, it's more about her life. The author of their national song, so it's about her life more than anything else. But like I said, going back to the museum, there's a 20-minute video all about the history, the culture of the Cayman Islands. We got a cultural history gallery that's permanent, and a natural history gallery that's permanent, and 3 changing galleries. And it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. And
is there a book of her poetry? Did she write poetry? Or
yeah, well, her granddaughter is putting together a whole songbook and a poetry book. Prolific. I didn't realize how much she,
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it mostly based on Cayman or just...
Pretty much everything, yeah. I mean, she's got a famous song/poem about mosquitoes. Ping, 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 and things like that. So,
cool,
yeah.
that always sounds lyrical as well.
Yeah.
Ping, ping, ping.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Nick, thank you again for coming along earlier in the discussion. We were talking about the settlement of the borders of the Cayman Islands. On the side with Honduras, that has already been settled, but yet to be settled is the border between Cayman and Cuba and Cayman and Jamaica, and it's something that's outstanding.
It's amazing that hasn't been done before.
I think there's been efforts to do it, but it's always, you'd think it would be a very high priority, but maybe it's
we
difficult.
have to make it so.
Make it so, yeah.
I think historically, what we talk about turtles and stuff, I think probably that Honduras border was probably established because of all the fishing, the turtle fishing and stuff. I remember all of the cases of people getting in jail for being in the wrong waters and stuff.
Well, apparently, even all the borders in the Caribbean Sea, probably the Caymanian turtle hunters actually had a role in the need for those borders, or the perceived need by countries like Nicaragua and various to actually settle their borders, because Caymanians were out wrecking and turtle hunting and birded hunting.
In the museum, we have a court, because it's the court. People know it as the old courthouse, the building as the old courthouse.
I went to court in there one day, got fined for speeding by Judge Horsefall.
So we have that tradition, that the floors and everything is still original, the setup without with the exhibits and stuff. But we wanted
some old writing on the wall and everything.
Yes, in the old jail. Yeah. So, but I was getting back to the borders and stuff. We have a case there of Cayman turtlers that were held prisoner hostage from I think it was Nicaragua. So it was about those, like just what you said, borders and where you can fish, and constantly this is like international waters, this is Colombia, and this is
I mean, even Swan Island, I mean, I said earlier, 17 members of the Jefferson family were born there, probably Canadians.
That's a topic that I definitely want, that we're hoping to do.
But I think the Americans claimed it under the Guano Act, which was, again, going back, we were talking about phosphate.
It's also linked and tied together. I tell you, Cayman history, when I was growing up and when I was doing my own, like, my art career, I never thought that Cayman would be a topic. Now I'm finding it is. I'm not going to live long enough to do all the Cayman topics.
I think even the author Creighton, who wrote Founded Upon the Seas, said that the history, he was stunned just how rich the history is.
Yeah.
I want to thank Miss Susan in the back for keeping us going, keeping me on track, the listeners out there and the people that called in, and just want to wish everybody a really good weekend, a safe weekend, and
I want to wish you good luck with the rest of the shows. I hope you survive.
Maybe you can come back on and help me again. But anyway.
But it was good, though. It was good.
Yeah. It's a good educational opportunity
Sure,
for any of us that have some memory of how it used to be.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Swan Island, diving there in 1967, snorkeling rather.
Oh.
There were so many groupers that seemed to me to be the size of cows, just grazing on the flats there.
We've reached the 10 o'clock mark, but a lot of people don't realize if you go southwest of Cayman, it's one of the first places you run into. People don't even know a lot about it, I think, our geography around us. It's
really
just
was a nice place
south and west of the Cayman Islands.
It's kind of on the same plate as it.
It's just on the same train. But anyway, that's it for today for the record, and I appreciate you all. Take care, God bless, and hopefully...
Thank you so much, Simon.
Thank you all.
For the record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the